So about 2 weeks ago, or maybe even less than that, somewhere in that time, it was time for me to do something about my roots. I had a horrendous amount of outgrowth, and so I needed to make a decision. And I was teetering between keeping the blonde and, touching up my roots, or going back to just being dark brown. And so I went to the store and I got the dark brown hair color, and I came back home and I was about to just dye it all back, and I realized that I could actually do an ombre. And this way I still had a little bit of my blonde, but I could not have to worry about the maintenance of the roots. So that's what I did. And I did absolutely no research. It literally just struck me and I decided to move forward. So what I did was, and I'll break it down using this little chart that I got online, and the links down below. What I established was that I was actually a level 8N, which is actually a very light blonde, especially for me. But somehow I managed to get my hair that light. And I determined this because I actually went to the beauty store and compared my hair to the swatches. And so that's what I was. And what I had already in my arsenal of hair colors was a 7A, which was an ash blonde. And so what I decided to do, again, without much thought, was mix the color in a bottle, and then apply it to my hair in sections. And I only went to about, the bottom of my ear and around. And I did that with the ash blonde first. And I applied it with this brush. And the reason why I applied it with the brush was because I didn't want a mark. I didn't want like a harsh mark all the way around my head, like, oh, it's, from here it's this. And I wanted it to be gradient, because I think that's the main point with an ombre. And don't quote me, but I think the whole idea is with a gradient is that it gradually goes from a lighter to darker, or darker to lighter color. So that's why the brush was so important. So I went ahead and fanned out the color, and then I processed it and, dried it and all that. And what I was left with was I had, the level 8N from, one level, and then the 7A from one level. And you could tell the difference, but it just wasn't as drastic as I wanted it to be. So then, using the 5N, which I had bought thinking that I was going to dye my hair all dark, which is right here, I then applied that the same way, mixed it in the bottle using a 10 volume developer. So I had my hair color, which was the 5N, and I mixed it with the 10 volume developer in my bottle, applied it to my hair, and then fanned it out in levels. So, I'd pick up a section of hair, put it on, and so forth. And I let that process for 20 minutes. And so now I had 3 different colors in my hair. I had the 8, which I already was, the 7, which I had added, and then the 5, which I had added. And I actually think by sheer luck that helped with the gradient, because it gradually gave me that transition of hair color. I did it on accident, but I think it worked in my favor. So that's how I got to being an ombre, and or having an ombre, not being an ombre. I guess you can be an ombre, but anyway. So that's how I did my ombre. It was without research. It's okay. I could have done better. I think if I had done research, I could have done better. But I think the key with the ombre is to use a brush so that you don't get the stiff mark. And if you can, layer the colors so that you get that gradient look. So you get that gradual transition from light to dark, or dark to light. And I think it's a good thing for somebody who's blonde and doesn't want to go all the way back to their natural color, or is looking for a way to manage their roots. It's working for me so far. Like I said, I've only had this for 2 weeks, but I don't have to worry about my roots anymore, so I guess it's a good thing.